Today, I want to break down specific techniques that women use to level up pleasure during vaginal sex. This video, which is for everyone, is actually talking about specific techniques that science has discovered that women or the penetratees do to augment vaginal penetration for their pleasure, okay? So here's the deal. Welcome back, YouTube family. It is Dr. Fenwa Milhouse, board-certified urologist, your favorite urologist. A nationally represented U.S. study looked at over 3,000 adult women. The goal to understand what actually makes vaginal penetration more pleasurable for women, okay? Over 80% of us need clitoral stimulation. Vaginal penetration alone for majority of us isn't enough. But there are some things that we have adapted to, women have adapted to make vaginal penetration more enjoyable. And this was the aim of this particular study, to understand what actually makes vaginal penetration more pleasurable for women. Not surprisingly, most women weren't just lying there hoping some magical something would happen. They were actively doing things to make it work better for them. Good for them, okay? I love that, okay? Because let me tell you, you have to own your own pleasure. You have to own your orgasm. You cannot put that onus on somebody else, all right? You have to also take and be an active participant. All right, so let's break down the big 4 techniques that emerged from the findings from this study, all right? Number 1, angling. And they found that approximately 87.5% of women utilized angling. By the way, these women didn't know what they were like. They didn't say, it's angling. They didn't give it that name. It's just some act that they were doing that they naturally probably discovered and were given these terms based on these findings. But anyway, getting back. So angling. Angling is all about adjusting your hips and your pelvis during penetration, like raising it, rotating it, maybe sometimes lowering them to change the way it feels. It lets you hit different internal spots. It lets you put pressure either more or less on the outside that may make certain things feel better, like the anterior wall or G-spot or G-zone or the clitoris. Basically like fine-tuning your pleasure antenna, like just a little bit that way, just a little bit this way, just back there, that sort of stuff. So angling was by far the most popular augmented way to increase pleasure during vaginal penetration. Number 2, rocking, used by 76% of respondees. This one's a game changer. Rocking means instead of traditional in and out thrusting, okay, the penis or the toy stays in, presses against the clitoris with every movement, and it just rocks on it, okay? It creates constant contact with the clitoris and is kind of the MVP of the female orgasm. So think less jackhammer and think more slow grind, all right? Number 3, shallowing, used by approximately 84% of respondees. This one might surprise people. Shallowing means focusing on the very entrance of the vagina, not deep penetration. Some women in particular reported increased pleasure when just the tip of the finger or the penis or the toy or the tongue or whatever was stimulating just inside this area. And it appeared very effective. We have to remember, the G-zone of a woman is very shallow. It's not deep in. And so you can really hit that underside of the clitoris by shallowing and consistent pressure upward, very shallow and upward in the vagina. And number 4, pairing, used by 69.7% of respondees. This is clitoral stimulation plus penetration at the same time. Whether the clitoris was stimulated with a finger, a vibrator, your partner's hand, adding clitoral stimulation during vaginal sex makes a huge difference. And yes, nearly 70% of women are doing this, okay? So if you're not already pairing, okay, you might want to consider that and start and give that a try. What these techniques have in common is that they're intentional, all right? Women aren't passively hoping penetration leads to pleasure and just laying there. They're taking some charge by adjusting their movement, by stimulating the clitoris and communicating what feels good. All right. Remember, communication in the bedroom is your biggest superpower. And it's the greatest asset that you can bring and technique that you can bring to an enjoyable experience. And honestly, the data blows up the old narrative that just penetration is enough for most women to orgasm. We know that. We know that. Spoiler alert, it's not. The majority of women in the study needed additional stimulation or control over the experience to really enjoy it. As a urologist and sexual medicine specialist, I see firsthand how many women think something's really truly wrong with them because penetration alone doesn't do it. But the science and biology says otherwise. This is normal. This is actually quite common. And orgasm dysfunction in general can be completely treatable, okay? Starts off with good communication. It starts off with body exploration and creativity and needed guidance from experts and professionals. If you're someone struggling with orgasm dysfunction, I strongly urge you to find a qualified sex therapist and a medical specialist who is specialized training in sexual dysfunction. And I also implore you to try one of these techniques that you've now learned. Try angling, try shallowing, try pairing, try rocking, mix and match, okay? Exploration is how you learn what feels good and what doesn't feel good. Let me know what you've learned from this video, and make sure you give this video a like, make sure you share it with a friend, and most importantly, make sure you subscribe for more evidence-based sexual health, talk that's real, fun, judgment-free, about genital health, urology, and all things down there right here. Until next time, YouTube family, take care of yourself and each other, and I will see you for more down there right here. Bye.